What's going on, everybody? It's your man ENIR NABU. Just coming at you with a quick tidbit as I usually do. So let me just read something to you. It may sound far-fetched, but try to have an open mind, know what I mean? Many thousands of years ago, way back in prehistory, there was a highly developed civilization in the Pacific which became known as Lemuria, or Mu. These peoples and others also founded another great culture on a landmass in the Atlantic, which we now know is called Atlantis. The knowledge that created these advanced societies, the knowledge that built the fantastic and unexplainable ancient structures like the Great Pyramid and other amazing sites around the world came from the stars, extraterrestrials of many varieties. Some were tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed type of aliens, while others took a reptilian form. These and others came here from constellations, such as Orion, Draco, Andromeda, Lyra, other locations like the Pleiades, Sirius, Vega, Zeta Reticuli, Arcturus, Aldebaran, and others. Now, all of these are real constellations and galaxies in our solar system and beyond. You can look that up. Australian Aborigines, African tribes, Babylonians, Sumerians, and South American Indians are just some of the diverse people who claim ancient connections with such places as Lemuria or Atlantis. The reptilians are a tall, mostly humanoid type race with snake-like eyes and skin, and they're connected to the classic Greys with the big black eyes, which became the very symbol of the E.T. Spielberg, holla at your boy. Often these various extraterrestrial factions battled for supremacy on our planet in the legendary Wars of the Gods. If you look at one of my blogs from before, I talk about Zechariah Sitchin and the discovery of all the Sumerian scrolls and tablets that were unearthed in the 30s that pretty much are our Bible, our Genesis, our Quran, our Torah. All those books basically come from these tablets. And on this planet, all these aliens that were here at one time and that are still here were having wars. These technologically advanced beings were believed to be gods by the human races on Earth at the time because of the apparently miraculous feats that they could achieve with their technology and their flying craft. Another person you may have heard me talk about is Eric Van Daniken, who has tons and tons of different pieces of evidence that are basically in all kind of museums and all around the planet now that depict flying craft in ancient times on the walls and cave walls of ancient people like these Sumerians and the Babylonians and people who we call cavemen. By the way, for those who find it impossible to conceive of any intelligent life forms and humanoids that take a reptilian form, think about the words of the cosmologist Carl Sagan, who said, and I quote, "There are more potential combinations of DNA, physical forms, than there are atoms in the universe." Let me repeat that. There are more potential combinations of DNA than there are atoms in the universe. Just let that sink in for a second. Think about that. On that basis, given the fantastic diversity of the reptilian species on the Earth alone, it would be more amazing if there were not reptilians of a humanoid and intelligent variety. These alien gods interbred with each other and the more primitive Earth people at the time, and these unions are recorded in endless ancient accounts. These were the sons of God who interbred with the daughters of man to seed a hybrid race, the Nephilim. It's in the Bible, as described in the Old Testament book of Genesis. The most important interbreeding was between the reptilian race and the blonde-haired, blue-eyed race, Nordic peoples, both of extraterrestrial origin, as an alliance was formed between the factions of these races. The union produced what has been called the Aryan or noble race, the master race that the Nazis spoke of. This is the fusion of the Nordic and the reptilian DNA. Basically, that's the genetic code that decides physical characteristics. And as these ancient records confirm, it was these royal bloodlines, the reptilian Nordic hybrids, that were placed in positions of ruling royal power in the thousands of years before known history. They were the kings and queens who claimed a divine right to rule because of their bloodline, the bloodline that they had of the gods. These ancient royal bloodlines in places like Egypt, Sumer, and the Indus Valley had white skin and often had blue eyes, yet they were known as dragon kings or serpent kings by those who knew the secret of their hybrid nature and origin. Lemuria, which was in the Pacific, was destroyed by a staggering cataclysm that struck the earth maybe 11 to 12,000 years ago. You know, in the book that everybody believes in, the Bible, talks about the Great Flood. Yeah, Atlantis went the same way in stages over thousands of years that followed. The universal stories of the Great Flood are related to this. When Atlantis came to an end amid a more enormous geological upheaval, the bloodlines and their quote-unquote gods began again in the Near and Middle East from about 4000 BC with the empire based in Sumer in what is now Iraq. Yeah, that's Sumerian, due to knowledge. Over thousands of years, these peoples expanded out of the Middle East and Near East into Europe, and the royal bloodlines of Sumer and Egypt became the royal and aristocratic families of Britain, Ireland, and other countries of mainland Europe, especially France and Germany. Wherever they went, these royal bloodlines interbred obsessively with each other through arranged marriages and secret breeding programs. We see the same thing with the ruling families of today, because they are seeking to perpetuate a particular genetic code, basically keeping their bloodline clean and not mixed like us mutts. We see the same with the ruling families all over the planet. In the ancient world, one of the headquarters for the secret society network or the Illuminati through which these bloodlines manipulate humanity was Babylon, also in the land of Sumer. The Illuminati network moved its headquarters to Rome, and during that time it came the Roman Empire and the creation of the Roman Church, or institutionalized Christianity. The headquarters then moved on to Northern Europe after the fall of the Roman Empire, and for a period it was based in the Netherlands. That's when the Dutch began to build their empire through the Dutch East India Company, and they settled South Africa. In 1688, one of these hybrid bloodlines, William of Orange, invaded England from the Netherlands and took the British throne as William III in 1689. William ruled with the Queen, Queen Mary. You heard of Queen Mary, right? Yeah, I bet you have. They both ruled and alone after her death in 1964. From that time, the Illuminati moved their center of operations to London. You know, the place that has a bunch of reptilian statues and depictions all over lower London. Take a look. Go Google that. See how many gargoyles and reptiles you see on each building corner. What a coincidence. What did I say before? There's no such thing as, coincidence. So basically, it's just a breakdown explaining that the bloodlines that control the world and our lives today are the same bloodlines that used to rule Lemuria, Atlantis, Sumer, Egypt, Babylon, Roman Empire, British, and European empires. They're the presidents of the United States, the prime ministers, the leading bankers and business families, the media owners, and those who control the military. We have been ruled by the same interbreeding tribe of alien, extraterrestrial, or interterrestrial hybrids, the Nephilim, for thousands of years. Lemuria was real. Atlantis was real. There was a utopia on Earth. People didn't just come up with ideas off the top of their brains because we're so amazing as humans. The Wright brothers didn't just come up with the airplane. It was around way before that. Neither was Da Vinci. He wasn't the first one to come up with it either. Benjamin Franklin did not invent electricity. Don't get it twisted. Benjamin Franklin sacrificed children when he was an original member of the Royal Society and a Mason. They unearthed hundreds of bodies and skeletons from his house early on after he died. Due to knowledge. Don't get it twisted. Just because aliens made her out to look like cartoons and fiction doesn't mean it's all true. But again, you ain't gotta believe nothing I say. You know what I mean? A great author once said, it doesn't matter if you believe it or I believe it. If the people that control our lives and that are in power believe it, that's all that matters.